Ready? I'm going to recap the Unit 2 paper assignment for those of you who were absent and for those of you who were there but wouldn't mind a refresher. So let me share my screen here. And here we have our whole Unit 2 folder on Brightspace. If you scroll down, you will see everything that we've already done, talked about, watched. And if any of this is not familiar, there are other videos of me recapping it, or I can certainly go over something with you on Zoom if you like. But all the way down here, we have our Unit 2 Riot Baby essay prompt, and I have it opened over here. So here it is. This is going to be a short paper, exactly 1,000 words, and I'll tell you more about that when I get down to it. So in Unit 2, we read Riot Baby, a novel, and acquainted ourselves with the science fiction genre called Afrofuturism. We researched the genre, we watched TED Talks, we read comic books, we listened to interviews with Tochi Onyebuchi and Nnedi Okorafor, who are major contributors to the genre. So you're being prompted to write a paper, and your job is to develop an original thesis. That means an original argument. That means an opinion, a stance of your own, and write a paper in support of that thesis, responding to this prompt right here. Oops, it doesn't want me to highlight that right here. Make an argument for the importance of Afrofuturism as a science fiction genre and connect its effect on society to the ways that Ella's and Kev's mindsets change throughout the course of Tochi Onyebuchi's book, Riot Baby. So you're going to be looking at the character development of these two siblings, starting from when they were young and ending in their adult years, and see how they change. What is their character arc? What is their story? How do their beliefs and personalities shift? And in what way can you use those points from the book to show how Afrofuturism as a science fiction genre is important, and in what way it affects society, using Ella's and Kev's mindsets throughout the course of the book. So many different ways you can answer it. And here's the requirements. MLA style, any questions about what that means, please ask me. I left you a whole ton of comments in your Unit 1 papers. You all have an actual like PDF from me full of my own comments about your paper. So if there's anything that I'm pointing out to you about MLA style in those comments and you don't get it, just come to me. Here's the fun part. Your paper will be exactly 1,000 words. That means exactly. That doesn't mean 900. That doesn't mean 999. That doesn't mean 1001. That means your job is to exercise complete and perfect control over your own writing so that by the time you're done putting down all of your ideas, you have put all of your arguments into exactly 1,000 words. And you're going to write it as one whole paper, no part 1, part 2, with an introductory paragraph that contains your thesis statement, as many body paragraphs as you like, and your conclusion. I'm going to skip down here. This time only, your works cited page counts towards your word count. Your name at the top counts towards your word count. That information block that has, the name of the class, the date, counts towards your word count. The only thing that doesn't count towards your word count is when you put your last name in the header at the top where the page numbers go. It doesn't, anything in the header or a footer, it doesn't count those. Word doesn't count those, but everything else counts. So including your name, including your works cited, 1,000 words. So you're going to need to use a minimum of 4 sources. One of them is Riot Baby. You have to use Riot Baby, which means you get to go here and pick 3 other sources that will support your point, whether they're the TED Talks, whether they're the interview with Black Nerd Problems, whether it's one of the comics, whether it's the Nnedi Okorafor interview, whether it is the Wikipedia page on Afrofuturism, that's just fine. The document we have on Afrofuturism, it can be anything that you dig up yourself. It can be the interviews with Tochi Onyebuchi himself on Comedy Central. It can be his 1-minute thing here on YouTube with Jim Cotter. It is all yours to use. There is something down here that we never did talk about that you probably won't use. This is a podcast about Larry Miller, how he went from a prison valedictorian to Nike executive. And towards the end of this interview, they talk about criminal justice reform and prison reform and how tracking devices on people would be better than jails. And since the end of Riot Baby talks about a tracking device that is a little bit futuristic in that it doesn't actually make Kev be free from prison, but actually sort of imprisons him in a whole new way, I thought it would be interesting to compare this sort of dystopian version of tracking device as a means to freedom to a more realistic version of how we think this will go, understanding that sometimes how we think things will go might backfire. And maybe in Riot Baby, Tochi Onyebuchi is showing exactly how it would backfire. But anyway, this is just here if that part of the argument interests you. And if not, don't worry about it because we never did go over it. So let me scoot back up here. The other requirement is to embed an image anywhere in your paper that illustrates any aspect of your discussion, whether it's Afrofuturism in general, Riot Baby specifically, or any of the other works you're discussing, especially if you lean into the comics at all. Make sure to cite where the image came from, unless it's something that you're drawing yourself. If you cite the image, your works cited page will end up having 5 sources. If you cite the image like right there, like in a little caption under the image, and it's fully cited and you don't put it on your works cited page, then your works cited page will still just have 4 sources. So Riot Baby is 1, 3 secondary sources, and then there will be another one when you cite your image, whether that's in the works cited page or right there in a little caption under your image. If you have any questions about what this means, ask me. Submit it on Brightspace by the due date, which is before our next class. I'm sure Brightspace says probably 12 noon, but I'll double check on that. Make sure when you come to class, you bring a printed out version with you. If you cannot print, email me ahead of time so I can print. And we'll do the thing where we play bingo for those of you who were there last time, to iron out some of the easy errors to correct. But then since this is a short paper, 1,000 words is only going to be a few pages. And that includes your works cited list. So it's not going to be a long paper. We're going to do like a real live peer review where we really read each other's thesis statements and arguments and see what we can do to make our each of us make our papers better. So if you have any concerns at all, you know where to find me. If you have questions, since you're just getting all this in video, you can certainly shoot me an email and I can meet you on Zoom for a few minutes to talk about it. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that you have a PDF full of my comments for your Unit 1 paper, make sure you reach out to me because I spent a long time writing back to you in your Unit 1 paper, pointing out ways that you can improve for your Unit 2 paper. And if you don't have that, then I really want you to have that and I can go over that with you. So definitely let me know if that's something that you don't see on Brightspace, or if you have any questions about what I wrote on there, or if what I wrote on there said something like, your citations are a mess, too much to talk about, let's just go over this in person, and you feel like you don't know how to do your citations for this paper, see me ahead of time. We'll go over it and we can just iron all this out before you do your next paper. That's it. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you all in class next week unless I see you on Zoom first. All right, bye.